welcome to the Badass Breastfeeding Podcast. This is Dianne, your lactation consultant and mother of 3. I have a 25-year-old named Nathan who is very anxiety driven, but we won't talk about that on this episode. And we've got poor Nathan and a set of twins that are 23 and all breastfed kids and been in the maternal child health space for about 20 years.
And I'm Abby. And you might also know me as the Badass Breastfeeder, as I named myself 15 years ago or so. Actually, a friend of mine came up with that.
Oh, nice.
I came up with the idea for the blog, and she texted me and she was like, you should call it the Badass Breastfeeder. And I was like, oh, damn. That is
perfect.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I have 3. No, I don't. I have 2. Jack is 14, Exley's 11. They both breastfed for a god-awful amount of time. And also very anxiety-driven, like everyone in my house. And today's episode is sponsored by Solid Starts. Solid Starts is an app that helps you feel calm and confident when it's time to introduce food to your baby. If you've ever thought, what food do I start with, or how do I serve strawberries safely, or chicken, or just about any other food, Solid Starts walks you through it step by step. And today's episode is also brought to you by Original Sprout. What started as one mom's solution to her daughter's sensitive skin is now a trusted line of vegan and cruelty-free favorites that are safe enough for babies and effective enough for the whole family. Now, we're going to hear more from our sponsors later, but you can head to badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com. Check out our sponsor page. If you ever need anything, see if you can give them your business because they make this podcast possible. And while you're there, scroll down and enter your email address, and we'll send episodes straight to your inbox every week. We are on Patreon, and we have brought back our parenting podcast, Revolution Parenting.
Woohoo!
Yes, we started this podcast many years ago and then stopped, but we created it to bring kinder and more compassionate adults into the world. We believe that this starts at home with how we parent our children. We talk about child development, discipline, boundaries, attachment parenting, and so much more. The only place to access this podcast is Patreon. Now we have 2 tiers. Each tier has multiple benefits, including a goodie bag of thank you for nursing in public cards and podcast stickers sent to your home every month. You can head to the top link in the show notes under this episode, wherever you are listening from, and pick a tier that looks good to you. And we are still hosting our ongoing giveaway for people who leave reviews around the internet, like iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you're listening from. Leave a review, take a screenshot, and send it along with your address to badassbreastfeedingpodcast@gmail.com. And we'll send you one of those goodie bags as a thank you. Now, if you have already left a review or you can't leave a review, share it on your socials. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. Send a screenshot of that over to badassbreastfeedingpodcast@gmail.com. We just want your help getting the podcast out, and we will send you a thank you goodie bag for that. And we will also send you a goodie bag for sending me breastfeeding photos that you do not mind if I share on my social media account. If you have a photo, send it along to badassbreastfeedingpodcast@gmail.com, along with a little bit about yourself or not. Either way. We'll send you a goodie bag. And I think that's all. And Dianne has our review of the week.
I do have our review of the week. But I also wanted to say that Revolution Parenting was pretty popular. I didn't realize that until we looked back on it. Yeah, we looked back on it and we saw we had like 10,000 downloads or something on it. So it was a pretty popular one. So definitely check it out. Our review of the week says, "Hi, Dianne and Abby. I started listening to the podcast in 2022 when I was struggling with my first breastfeeding journey. I was a new mom who had an induction, not part of my original plan, a somewhat jaundiced and sleepy baby, and a tough time starting my journey. We had a few rough weeks in the beginning with a mix of pumping and nursing, but I was able to meet my breastfeeding goal of 1 year, then 2 years. I now have a 3+-year-old and a 9-month-old, and I am tandem feeding, hoping to make it to over 12 months with my son as well. Listening to this podcast was so helpful for both me and my husband. Episodes helped us to better understand cluster feeding and normal newborn behavior, make the decision to safely co-sleep, and give grandparents ideas for other ways to support mom, not just feeding. Thank you for the work you do to support moms and families. I recommend your podcast to all new moms who want to breastfeed. You are never judgmental and always good for a laugh. I love this, and I love that she's tandem feeding. So kudos to you. That's amazing. And it is really hard when you have that jaundiced, sleepy baby in the beginning and you're like, oh my God, I'm never going to get past week 2. Like, this is terrible. Yeah. And you made it. Like, you did it and you excelled. So good for you. It's amazing. You should be celebrating.
Yeah. Be proud of yourself.
Be very proud. Be very, very proud of yourself because you did a great job.
Now, I actually have a comment.
Oh, cool.
Because somebody sent me a message and I thought I would just read it because we did that nursing strike episode.
Oh, yeah.
And she sent me some photos. She sent me some photos and was just like, here, I heard you asking for photos. Here's some photos. Oh, by the way, my baby hasn't latched for 9 days.
Oh, dear.
And I was like, she didn't ask me for help or anything. So I was just like, oh, are you okay? What's happening? What's happening? So she goes, oh, I'll tell you the whole story. So she says, so he did not latch once for 12 days. I pumped and sobbed around the clock. Desperately reached out to all my IBCLC colleagues. She's a lactation consultant. Anyway, paste bottle feeding, topless, skin-to-skin baby wearing, lots of baths, showers, medication. Day 12, that evening, he finally latched. Now he's drinking like he's never had a break, and I've banned bottles. I guess our babies are our greatest teachers. My husband was so supportive, and he kept saying, it'll make you a better lactation consultant. And I said, I don't care. I don't want to be better. So there is hope. It can go on for a long time.
Did she say how old her baby is?
Oh, crap. I cut that part off. Here, I can find it really quick.
That is just amazing because it really it makes you want to just stop trying when it's like that. And the fact that she just kept offering after 12 days is amazing.
Yeah.
Because she did all the right things. You obviously have to feed your baby. So paste bottle feeding and lots of skin to skin and lots of baby wearing and lots of baths and, all baths together, not just throw your baby in the tub, but get in the tub with your baby and all of those things. And that can help to bring you closer and back to the breast again. So she did an amazing job, but oh my God.
Yeah. I'm trying to find how old he is, except one of the pictures is he, okay, maybe there's 2. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I know we talked about on that episode that the average age is around 7 months, but it could be a little earlier. It could be a little later.
Months.
6 months. Yeah.
And okay. She said, send good latching vibes. My 6-month-old has bronchiolitis and has refused the boob completely for 9 days. And then by the time we talked again, it had been 12 days. Or it was 12 days total before he finally latched again. So he was sick and miserable.
Poor baby.
But 6 months, 6 months old. That's rough. Wow. Oh, that's so rough for both of them.
Oh, good for her that she stuck it out. So amazing. Because I don't know that I could have been that good.
I know. That's fantastic. A really long time to just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anybody, if you're listening and you're going through it, keep going. Keep plugging away because they can still latch.
They can. And they want to.
Yeah.
They don't like it either.
No, they don't. They're just going through stuff.
Yeah.
Poor babies. Now, today we're going to talk about cow's milk protein allergy. Woohoo! I know, all the things people have been waiting us. I don't know that we've ever done a full episode on cow's milk protein allergy.
Yeah,
I don't know. But I was always kind of trying to steer away from it because it's so controversial and it's there's so many questions about it. And I don't have all the information because I'm not a doctor, but I can give you some guidance and we can talk about it. And we can talk about what it is not, because it can look like other things. But we'll see if we can at least help a few people out today by talking about this. And maybe it'll even help you feel a little bit better too.
Yeah.
So what cow's milk protein allergy is, and we're going to talk about what like an allergy is and an intolerance, because a lot of times it's just an intolerance, but a true allergy is like pretty rare. So what it's not lactose intolerance. So a lot of times, like sometimes people will think like, oh, my baby's lactose intolerant. That doesn't happen. That's like not really a big thing that happens. Cow's milk protein allergy is about protein. It's not about lactose. So they're two very different things. Abby's like, I
didn't know that. That's new to me.
Yeah, two very different things. So it's about protein. And it's about the protein, the cow's milk protein itself, and how that protein gets in the milk. And I had to give my husband a little bit of a schooling about this, because he was like, I was reading up on it yesterday, so that I would have all the info. And he was like, what are you doing your episode on tomorrow? And I said, cow's milk protein allergy. And he was like, I don't understand how that's a thing when it comes from your blood. It doesn't come from your stomach. Like, why is it? He's like, because he has learned. And I go, because protein is in your bloodstream. And he's like, oh, okay. So knows it a little bit. He's learned a lot from the episodes. But it is not very common. So actual cow's milk protein allergy only occurs in about 2 to 3% of infants. And it is less common in breastfed babies. I think people think that it's more common in breastfed babies. At least that's been my experience, although I only deal with breastfed babies, but less common in breastfed babies. So if you're like 0.5 to 1% of breastfed babies get a cow's milk protein allergy. So it is not that common, and most infants will outgrow it as well. So it's not something that they should take with them their whole life. It is something that they will outgrow by about like 1 to 3 years of age. But I remember also reading somewhere that by the time a child is like 2 or 3, they're building up like a defense against milk protein, and they don't handle milk protein as well once they get a little bit older. That's why you find so many adults that are lactose intolerant.
Oh.
So I don't know what the deal is, but I feel like we should all just like stay away from it. But now what does it do to our babies? So what you might see with a breastfed baby who has a cow's milk protein allergy, you might get like blood or mucus in the stool. And this is where I think the biggest predictor is when a parent says, there's blood in my baby's stool. There's blood in the poop. Even if it's like minuscule, there's like, oh my God, there's blood in the baby's poop. So we all get freaked out by that. Vomiting, reflux, poor weight gain. That's also a clue that there's poor weight gain. So your baby's not eating well because they don't feel good. They might have eczema or hives. They might have chronic congestion or wheezing. And that's from them just like with that reflux all the time. And if your baby is happy, they're thriving, they're doing well, they're gaining weight, but they have green stools, that does not mean that they have a cow's milk protein allergy. That just might mean that they have green stools. Sometimes, and I tell parents this all the time, like breastfed babies, their poop can go from yellow, like any variation of yellow, like yellowy orange, yellowy green. Like sometimes the stool will look green, but then the parent will like, and I've seen this actually, like while the parent is actually in my office, well, they are changing a dirty diaper and the diaper looks green, but they'll wipe the baby's butt and it'll look yellow. So it's like, it just sometimes will be greenish, yellowy. Like that doesn't mean that there's a problem if there's some green poop. Like that can be just a variation of their normal. So don't just jump to, oh my God, my baby's got a problem if they have a green poop. So I don't want anybody to just think that like, okay, my baby's got cow's milk protein allergy because their poop is green. So how it's diagnosed, there is really no true like, okay, we're going to do a blood test. We're going to like test for cow's milk protein. Like there's really no true test for it. We go by the history, by the symptoms, and we look at an elimination diet. Like we'll tell the parents, and you might hear this a lot of times come from the pediatrician. Well, they'll say, okay, the baby's having green poops. They've got eczema rash. They've got reflux and they're spitting up all the time and they're miserable. Let's try to take away dairy in the mom's diet for about 2 to 4 weeks and see what happens. If things improve, then we know what it was. But we should not automatically jump to that. Like, I think that's where the problem lies. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this episode, was because we see a lot of like on social media and stuff, a lot of, oh my gosh, my baby's fussy, my baby's spitting up, my baby has reflux. Oh, give up dairy. That people will automatically go to that. Just give up dairy and it's fine. Like, you don't need to, it shouldn't be started. We shouldn't be doing elimination diets just kind of willy-nilly. And we shouldn't be doing elimination diets if there's no clinical reasoning behind it. So if your baby is showing some symptoms, like the ones I just said, we're talking like green bloody stools and mucousy poops and eczema and spitting up and poor weight gain and all of that stuff. So what we're going to do, if this is an issue, is remove all the cow's milk protein from the lactating parent's diet. And yes, it sucks. I'm not going to even like try to go, oh, it's fine. It's going to be easy. Just do it. No, it sucks. Like, it's just, nobody wants to give up food. Nobody wants to give things up, but it is recommended. And I will tell you this, it is recommended to keep your baby on breast milk than it is to put them on a specialized formula. That is what the recommendation is. The recommendation is for the parent to give up dairy and keep the baby on breast milk than it is for them to put them on a very specialized hydrolyzed formula. So try to kind of keep that in mind, that you're doing the best thing possible for your baby. So it is like, it sucks, but definitely meet with an IBCLC. Make sure you might even need to like meet with a nutritionist to make sure you're getting all the right things in your diet. But it is okay for you to do that, for you to just like start getting rid of dairy in your diet. And you probably, if you don't see an automatic, like you should see, I'm not going to say automatic like the first day, but within a few days, you should see a difference. Like if that's not the problem, then you won't see a difference. But if you've given up,
you're having to wait like 6 weeks. Like, let me just not eat cheese for 6 weeks and see what happens.
Right. Like, just put me on a steak somewhere, right? Like, it's just, it's not like where I want to be with my life. But like, all I ate yesterday was cheese, I think. So think of it, if I had to give it up, it would be like really a stretch in my life. But you're going to know a difference pretty quickly. Like, your baby's going to not be as fussy. You might notice that the poop is changing, if that's the problem. If that's not the problem, then you're not going to see a difference. So it's going to be...
And you can eat cheese again.
And you can eat cheese again. Exactly. It's going to be a huge change. So maybe we should take a break, and then I'm going to talk more about like what to do about it.
Alrighty, we'll be right back. Today's episode is sponsored by Solid Starts, the app that helps you feel calm and confident when it's time to introduce food to your baby. If you've ever thought, what food do I start with? Or how do I serve strawberries safely, or chicken, or just about any other food? Solid Starts walks you through it step by step. Inside the app, you'll find a huge first foods database with simple, age-appropriate serving guidance, plus recipes, practical guides, and tools created by a team of pediatric pros, including feeding specialists, pediatric dietitians, pediatricians, and pediatric allergists. The Solid Starts app also walks you through how to safely introduce common food allergens like peanuts and eggs to your baby, making sure you know when to start, how to offer them, what high risk actually means, and how to build regular exposure in a way that feels doable. It's designed for real life, busy days, messy meals, and all the questions that pop up in between. Whether you're just getting started or you're troubleshooting gagging, overstuffing, or picky phases, Solid Starts is like having a supportive expert in your pocket. And for badass breastfeeders, Solid Starts is offering a discount, 25% off of your first year of the annual subscription. Use code BADASS when signing up through the app, or you can head to the link in the show notes that will bring you directly to the app with the discount code already applied. So just scroll down in the show notes. You'll see Solid Starts with a direct link. Or you can just go to the App Store or Google Play or wherever and put in your code. Today's episode is also brought to you by Original Sprout, a brand that began with a mother's love for her child. Back in 2003, when the founder couldn't find a hair care product gentle enough for her own daughter's sensitive skin, she created one herself, bringing the same care and intention we all use when choosing products for our kids. They use gentle ingredients with no harsh sulfates, parabens, or phthalates. Their formulas are also made without essential oils like tea tree or lavender, which some families choose to avoid during sensitive stages like postpartum and breastfeeding. What started as one mother's solution is now a trusted line of vegan and cruelty-free favorites, soft enough for babies and effective enough for the whole family. And shout out to the Curl Calm cream and the Tahitian hair oil, which is what I use every day, and I love it. Check out their entire line at originalsprout.com and use code BADASS26 for 25% off of your order. The promo codes and the direct links for today's sponsors can be found in the show notes under this episode. You can also go to badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com and check our sponsor page. And while you're there, you can find all of our other episodes. You can find our favorite resources page, and you'll also find information about scheduling your very own one-on-one online lactation consultation with Dianne.
Yeah, people do it. So one of the things that I want to make sure we cover is that this is probably one of the most common things that I hear when parents find that their baby is struggling a little bit with something is guilt. Like, I did this to my baby. I just want them to be comfortable. I just want them to have what they need. And I've caused this problem where I eat this food and it's bothering them. Like, that is really the first line of what I hear. And just know that you didn't do anything wrong. This is a immune response of their body. This is not something that you did wrong. Like, how would you ever know that this is how their immune system was going to react? So it is nothing that you've done wrong, and it is something that's absolutely fixable, and we can just make it better. But don't carry that guilt, because please, we have enough guilt that we carry. I mean,
blame the baby. It's really their fault. It's not yours.
It's the baby's fault. So what you need to do, like, there's a lot of different stuff. And you also need to, this is like a situation too. You want to see a lactation consultant. And I know a lot of people do go to their pediatrician or to their provider because there's blood in the poop, or there's, mucusy poop, or their baby's really fussy, or they've got reflux or whatever. And it's driving you to the pediatrician. But you also want to see your lactation consultant, because it could also look like an oversupply issue. So oversupply, if you have too much milk, that can actually look like a lot of the symptoms are the same between an oversupply and a cow's milk protein intolerance or cow's milk protein allergy. Because when an oversupply is happening, you get those green, bloody, mucusy poops, and you get those fussy babies, and you get that reflux. And you want to be sure that that you're not giving up dairy and totally altering your life for no reason at all. So make sure that you see a lactation consultant so that we can make sure that everything is like you're on par with getting rid of what we need to get rid of. So that's going to be like your first line of defense. Some things that you want to look at. If your baby's fussy, is that automatically a dairy allergy? No. If your baby is fussy, don't look on social media because social media is going to tell you your baby's got a dairy allergy. Babies are fussy. They cry, they grunt, they turn red. A lot of people, oh my God, my baby's grunting when they're pooping. There's something wrong. That's normal. Like that's what they do. That is normal development for a baby. Like they have gas, they turn red, they grunt, they cry, they fuss. We absolutely see that all the time. Babies are not going to be happy 24 hours a day. Like they're just not, even though we want them to be. So we're looking for poor weight gain. We're looking for eczema. We're looking for persistent vomiting, not just spitting up occasionally. We're looking for blood or mucus in the stool. We're looking for, if you give up the dairy, did your baby get better? Like that is the things that we're looking for. If your baby is thriving and they have fussiness, that's probably not a dairy allergy. So don't worry about, like, if your baby's thriving, they're gaining weight well, they're doing fine, they're fussy some of the time, but not 24 hours a day. Like it's probably not a dairy allergy. If somebody tells you that breastfed babies just don't get cow's milk protein allergy, like that's not accurate either. It's very inconsistent. Like it's not common for them to get it, but it is something that they can get. So just know, kind of keep it on your radar. If you're seeing all those symptoms, that could be something that your baby is struggling with. So what do you need to stop breastfeeding? Like if your baby has cow's milk protein allergy symptoms, do you need to stop breastfeeding? Is this the end of your breastfeeding journey? Absolutely not. You might need to give up some things in your diet. We might need to adjust your diet. Not even for the extent of time that you're breastfeeding. It's only for a couple of months. And then as your baby gets older and they can tolerate more, usually around this time they start solids, you can reintroduce that dairy. So it's not even like, okay, your baby is 4 months old, they've got a cow's milk protein allergy. Now you've got to give up dairy for the entire rest of the time that they breastfeed. And what if they breastfeed till they're 4? You never eat dairy again. Like that's not the case. It is like just for a couple of months while their system gets a little bit stronger and can tolerate a little bit more stuff. Cutting back on dairy doesn't typically work. You need to give it up. You need to cut, especially if you are somebody who eats a lot of dairy. So I had this one mom one time who was like, the baby was showing some symptoms, but not all the symptoms. And she was like, she ended up having like an oversupply issue, but she was like, I really hope it's not a dairy problem because cheese is the only way I get protein because I'm a vegetarian and that's the only way I get my protein. So I really hope that this is not going to be an issue. So we really it's got to be a lot. Like it's not typically like, oh yeah, I have one yogurt a day or I have some cream in my coffee. That should not cause a problem for your baby. It is those oversensitized infants that really have an issue with dairy. And it should be more than just like cream in your coffee that is going to cause the problem. So you also have to look at like, how much dairy are you really taking in? Is it really that much that it's going to cause a problem? There's no testing for it. We go by symptoms. And whether or not, if you've eliminated dairy in your diet, if that's helped. You might not have to, one of the other questions that I get a lot of is, what if this doesn't work? Then do I have to give up soy? Do I give up egg? Do I give up gluten? Do I give up wheat? Do I give up what do I do next? We don't need to jump to all that. Let's just take one thing at a time. Work with a lactation consultant and see what's happening with your baby. Reflux is pretty common with these issues. However, reflux is common with babies. and it peaks at about 3 to 4 months. So if your baby has reflux, that does not mean it's a dairy allergy. It could just mean that they have reflux. So just manage those reflux symptoms. And we've got episodes on reflux. Reflux it's a pain. I have it myself. If I could have given my babies Tums, I would have, but I can't. So it really is just something that they get just because their system is immature, and all babies get it. It just depends on like how much they are bothered by it. They will not have it forever. Like I said, they're going to grow out of it and it's going to be fine. You did nothing to provoke it. It's just the way. It's just, like I said, it's an immune response from your baby. So what is the difference between an intolerance, a cow's milk protein intolerance, and a cow's milk protein allergy? So like I said, the allergy is you're getting all of those symptoms. You're getting poor weight gain. You're getting severe irritability, all those things that are showing us that there's like an immune response. Milk intolerance is more of like they're uncomfortable, right? They're not truly having an allergy response. They might have a couple of symptoms, but they're not going to have all the symptoms. So red flags would be if they do have like poor weight gain, because they shouldn't have poor weight gain with cow's milk protein intolerance. You might just get like a couple of, maybe they're just irritable after feeds, maybe they're just spitting up quite a bit, but you might not see like, you know, the poor weight gain. You might not see, you know, really poor reflux, like really bad reflux. You might not see that kind of stuff. You might only see a couple of symptoms. You're not seeing all the symptoms. You can go ahead, and some people will take out dairy for that as well. You can do that for a couple of weeks, see if things get better. Most babies will outgrow it. And again, it's very uncommon with breastfed babies. So just kind of keep in mind, if you are somebody that's exclusively breastfeeding, your baby is going to be less likely to have a cow's milk protein intolerance or cow's milk protein allergy. Now, interestingly enough, if your baby was supplemented in the hospital, or if they were supplemented early on, they might be more subjected to a cow's milk protein allergy because they were introduced to it very, very early before their system was ready for it. So sometimes we kind of look at this and then like a baby might be struggling at 6 weeks, 8 weeks. They're only breastfed. They're exclusively breastfed. However, maybe that baby was jaundiced and they received a little bit of formula in the hospital, or their weight gain had dropped significantly and they received a little bit of formula early on, but never got formula again after like 2 weeks. Now they're showing signs and symptoms of cow's milk protein allergy. That is because their system was triggered by that formula early on. So it could be like, think about that. You know, if you're exclusively breastfeeding your baby and your baby is showing these symptoms, think about whether or not were they exposed to formula at some point. Maybe not now, but maybe previously were they exposed to formula, because that could make a difference. But you definitely, like, if you're seeing kind of the takeaways for this, if you are seeing symptoms of a cow's milk protein allergy or intolerance, definitely talk to a lactation consultant. You want to rule out whether or not it's just reflux, whether or not it is a hyperlactation or an oversupply situation. You want to rule those things out because you don't want to have to adjust your entire life if it's not necessary. And
if it's not going to help.
And if it's not going to help, like if your baby's not having a problem with cow's milk, then, and you give up all of the dairy that is in your diet, you're going to know it, that they're not getting better, but you want to do what's going to be helpful for your baby. So talk to a lactation consultant, make sure you're doing the right thing, make sure you're ruling out the problem. And I think one of the biggest things that I've run into in my career as a lactation consultant is the fact that people don't realize that cow's milk protein intolerance and allergy can actually look like an oversupply problem. And they don't realize that it can be, that's what it can be. And I used to see that when I worked in the pediatric office. And when somebody would call to come in because they found, they saw blood in their baby's poop, or the baby had mucousy stools, or, whatever. And I would look at the weight of the baby. And if it was a baby that was gaining at a very expansive rate, I'd be like, okay, this is an oversupply issue. This is not a dairy issue. And I remember saying that one time to the pediatricians, and they were like, really? That's a thing? And I'd be like, yeah, that's actually a thing, that the symptoms look the same. So you want to be able to rule that out.
And that's why you need to talk to a lactation consultant, and not just maybe your pediatrician, who wouldn't necessarily know that.
Like, how would they know? They wouldn't know. So you definitely want to talk to a lactation consultant to make sure, and be cognizant of all the symptoms. You want to watch your baby and make sure that you know all the symptoms that they seem to be portraying. And that's kind of, in a nutshell, what you're looking for with cow's milk protein allergy.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.